Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wahdah. والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا وقال سبحانه وتعالى لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم طوبى لمن جعله الله مفتاحا للخير مغلاقا للشر وويل لمن جعله الله سبحانه وتعالى مفتاحا للشر مغلاقا للخير أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وأزواجه وذرياته أجمعين. Respected elders, our young friends, our sisters in Islam, we are living in an age of complete materialism. Everything happens. You put money on the table. You know, they say, there's a saying, Paisa phenk tamasha dekh. You give money and then you see what money can do. We are living in a time of complete consumerism. We are living in a time of excess. We are living in a time, Allah Ta'ala forgive me for saying this, we are living in a time of munafaqat. Munafaqat b'ma'na, yani hypocrisy. This is the zamana, this is the era, and this is the time we are living in. What does that mean? If I get something, I will do it. If I make some money out of what you are telling me to do, then I will do it, otherwise I am not interested. The munafiqeen in Medina Munawwara, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did not come into Masjid Nabawi behind Rasulullah in Fajr namaz and in Isha namaz. Why? We don't get anything. Agar kuch milega nahi, to why should we come? That because they felt there's no one to see you in the dark of the morning. There's no one to see you at the time of Isha. Why shall we go? We won't get anything. وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَسَاهُونَ. Some people are only doing why? Because we'll get something. You know, mashallah, they say, on a light note, a person came to a barrister and said, what is your charge? What is your fees if I were to hire you? He said, $1,000 for 3 questions. $1,000 for 3 questions. The barrister says, yes, that is very expensive. Yes, by the way, what's your 3rd question? What is your price? So for 3 questions, $1,000. But you are very expensive. Yes, I am very expensive. So now what is your 3rd question? Some people in the world, they will only do it. Why? Because we will get something out of it. We as Muslims need to rise above and beyond this. You know, mashallah, if you look at the lives of the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wasalam, if you look at the lives of the Anbiya, what did the Anbiya say the entire life? La as'alukum alayhi ajra, in ajriya illa ala rabbil alameen. I am only asking you, you give me an ear, bas. You give me your ears and listen to what I have to say to you. Beyond that, I want nothing at all. Why? Because in ajriya illa ala rabbil alameen. My reward, what I will get inshallah, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why, if you see the masala, the miras of Anbiya alayhimus salatu wasalam is not given to their children. The miras of Anbiya, the inheritance of the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wasalam, does not go to the children of the Anbiya. Because the entire life, what did Rasulullah say? In ajriya illa ala rabbil alameen. La as'alukum alayhi ajra. So a Nabi is not meant to leave behind money after he goes. So there is no miras. And the reason why there is no miras, there are a few reasons. One reason why, because Anbiya alayhimus salam are alive in their graves. If someone is alive, you don't distribute their inheritance. Number one. Number two, their entire lives, what did Anbiya say? La asalukum alayhi ajra. I'm not asking you for any ajr. So now if Anbiya were to leave money behind, the people will say, their entire life they said, we don't do anything for ajr, and now they're leaving so much money behind. And number three, the reason why Anbiya alayhimus salam, their inheritance is not distributed, it's because to safeguard the iman of the children of the Anbiya. For money, what Muslims and what people will do for money, you believe me, it is shocking. Abi, we dealt with one case before I came. It didn't work out because it ended up in the court. But you will not believe when I spoke to the girl's father who had a divorce, who took a divorce from her husband, and the husband left behind meaning husband had a house, they had to sell the house, 700,000 pounds. The wife contributed 12,000 pounds towards that house. 12,000 pounds. And now the wife wants 350,000 pounds from the husband. I explained to the father, okay, your daughter's husband is willing to give 200,000 pounds, and he came to the last minute, he came, Chalo, I'll give her 300,000, but not 350. So I said, you should take it, because he's saying he'll give you that. But he was insistent, no, my daughter will take 350,000. I explained everything to him in the light of Quran and Hadith, that money is not halal for her. I explained everything. You will not believe what the father said. Leave Quran in England and the Hadith to one side. Quran or Hadith ko ek taraf rakh do. Because of money, people today are selling their religions. My message to you, and my message to myself, and my message to everyone who is listening from home, do something in life to benefit humanity for the sake of Allah, not for money. We need to raise above and beyond. You know what Anbiya alayhimus salam used to do? What did the verse of the Quran say? إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. We feed you for the sake of Allah. We don't want any compensation from anyone, and we don't even want your gratitude. We don't even want we don't even want you, we don't even want you to say, Jazakumullah. Alhamdulillah, you should. Okay, but this is the verse of the Quran, this is what this is implying. And inshallah, now if you look at the lives of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, I'll just share a few incidents with you. Inshallah, and from there we realize why we should do something in life, whereby I do it for the sake of Allah. I've done it for the sake of Allah. Why? Because next time maybe someone in the family goes into ICU. Inshallah, that one amal will be of use to you inshallah, in this world, you can use that action as an intermediary for yourself. Now, let me give you a few examples whereby we can realize. Very, very prime example, everyone here reads Surah Kahf on a Friday. Surah Kahf. How many stories are mentioned in Surah Kahf? 4 stories are mentioned. There are 4 stories mentioned in Surah Kahf. Number 1, Ashab Kahf. Number 2, the story of the 2 individuals and the bagh and the garden. Number 3, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and Khadr. Number 4, Zulqarnain. So these are the 4 stories mentioned, meaning Allah Ta'ala is telling me and you, if you have to fight a shirk in your locality, number 1, how do you do it? If you have to face shirk and the entire environment around you is shirk, and you're the only one who is a muwahid, how do you live in that community? If you have the fitna of wealth with you, how do you deal with that? If you have ilm, how do you deal with that? If you have a power like Zulqarnain, how do you deal with that? These are the 4 fitnas that we are going to have at the end of time. This is why in the zamana of Dajjal, how do you combat the fitna of Dajjal? Because he will have power. He will have not ilm, but he will have, mashallah, they say, one of the signs of Dajjal that Rasulullah mentioned, he will have knowledge. Knowledge in terms of what's happening around the world. Isko sara kuch pata hoga. Rasulullah said, Kana ya'rifu as-suq. Dajjal will know what is happening in the market. You see why? That's why they want today one new world order. You know what they want today? They want cash to be completely obliterated. They want everyone to buy everything on credit card or on debit card. Why? Because they maneuver every single thing that you buy. Okay, they know everything. They know your entire history. If your phone location is on, they know every single minute of your day, how much time you spend at home, how much time you spend in Jami Abu Bakr, how much time you were in Walmart, when you went to Costco. Okay, they know everything. كان يعرف السوق. My advice to every one of you here, mashallah, to avoid the tax man, mashallah, keep some cash. Okay, a lot of people have a lot of money, okay, under the mattress at home. Mashallah, you have $100 notes. I'm sure that you not pay tax for. Mashallah, alhamdulillah, you have. But mashallah, a lot of people, mashallah, a lot of people do not pay their full tax. So keep some cash money that you can do your shopping with. And always, unless you have to leave your phone location, leave it off. Otherwise, they know everything that is happening in the market. They know everything. Dajjal will have everything at his disposal. It's a zamana of shirk, because that's what he will do. He will go to a grave and he will say to an individual, if I bring back to life your father and your mother who is in your grave, if I get them to stand up and they will acknowledge, I am your God, will you believe? The individual will say, if my father stands up and says, yes, this is your God, I will believe. The Dajjal will have a power, even the people who are sleeping in their graves. This is why Rasulullah said, the fitna of Dajjal is greater than the fitna of Adhab Qabr. There has been no fitna that has been greater than the fitna of Dajjal. So, inshallah, I would like to, in the context of what we are doing today, inshallah, do things for the sake of Allah. You know, mashallah, one of my ustads used to say, what is the difference between a school and a madrasa? What is the difference? What is the difference between a state school, and an Islamic school, Islamic environment, a madrasa where you study right until Dore Hadith? You tell me, what is the difference? The school teaches you how to demand your right, and the madrasa teaches you how to fulfill the rights of others. And this is the difference. एक ने लेना सिखाया और एक ने देना सिखाया. And that is the difference. And that is the beauty of Islam. And that is why we should be adhering to the teachings of the Quran and the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So the Quran has taught me and you, is a hadith mentioned by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah in the chapter of Ahkam, in Kitab al-Ahkam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Addu ma alaykum. अद्दू मा अलैकुम वसलुल्लाह हक्ककुम. तुम्हारी जो जिम्मेदारी है उसको तुम अदा करो. तुम्हारा अगर कोई हक अदा नहीं करता तो उसका सवाल अल्लाह ताला से करो. Don't say, because he does not fulfill my right, why shall I fulfill the rights of my wife when she is not fulfilling my rights? Allah Ta'ala will ask you, did you fulfill your side of the bargain or not? So inshallah, I will share with you one incident from the story of Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn travels and he goes on to 3 journeys. One to the west, one to the east. حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس. حتى إذا بلغ مطلع الشمس. And then number 3, most probably somewhere to the north. And he is there in a community where there are Yajuj Majuj. Now the zamana of Dhul Qarnayn, mashallah, they say 4 great kings, the 4 greatest kings of the history of humanity. 2 were non-Muslim and 2 were Muslim. Okay, the 2 non-Muslim were Namrud and Bukht Nasr. Or you can say maybe Fir'aun as well, Fir'aun and Bukht Nasr. And the 2 Muslim ones was Sulaiman alayhi salam, Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, and number 2 was Sayyidina Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn comes to this community and the people say, we are sick and tired of this community of Yajuj Majuj. You know why they call Yajuj Majuj? Why they call Yajuj Majuj? The word Majuj and Yajuj comes from the word Mawj. And in the Arabic word, what is the word Mawj? Storm. You know, a storm. Okay, wo itne zyada hai. You know, when the storm comes into the ocean, okay, the amount of water is not a few gallons. MashaAllah, it's tons and tons of liters of water. Okay, that come to you. Yajuj Majuj will come in the millions. in the millions. When they will come in the zamana of Isa alayhi salam, Allah Ta'ala will tell Isa alayhi salam, oh Isa, you don't have the power to combat and fight against Yajuj Majuj. You will have to take your followers onto a mountain top and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why they call Yajuj Majuj? Because from the word mawj, and a storm of water. Because of their massive number, there is a stream in Syria. It's called the Tiberias, or it's called the Tiberias. Nahr at-Tabariya. They will come onto that stream of water. It's a huge river of water. Yajuj Majuj will come. And the first group will come. They will drink the water to the extent that the second group of Yajuj Majuj that will follow them, they will say, there was a time when there was some water here. एक ज़माना था जब यहाँ पानी था, अब तो पानी खत्म हो गया. That is Yajuj Majuj. What did Dhul Qarnayn do to safeguard these people? What did he do? He made a wall for them. Sadd Dhul Qarnayn. He made a wall. But you know what? My point to everyone is, they said, we will give you money. فَهَلْ نَجْعَلُ لَكَ خَرْجًا. We will give you money. You erect a wall for us. You know, आज हमारी mentality कैसी है? If we are not given money to do something, then you know what I'll do? I'll make it in such a manner, after a few months it collapses. So he will have to call me, and then he will have to pay me. Because he's not going to pay me anyway. Because we are not given money, we are not professional at all. Anyway, to Dhul Qarnayn makes a wall. And you know what he says? I do not want a single penny from you. And then after he finishes and he's leaving, you know what he says? هَذَا رَحْمَةٌ مِّن رَبِّي. This was the rahmah and the mercy of my Lord. So this is what you call doing something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for other individuals. Imam Muslim, in Sharh al-Nawawi, inshallah you can have a look, volume number 1, page number 55, in Sahih Muslim. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah has mentioned an incident of a Sahabi. Again, doing something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for someone. And then inshallah you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will repay you back. This is a Sahabi, Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali radiyallahu anhu. Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab used to call him Yusufu hadhihi al-ummah. The Yusuf of this ummah. Itne zyada khubsurat, mashallah. Amongst the Sahaba, there were two individuals that were very, very handsome. Number one, Jarir ibn Abdullah. Sayyidina Umar used to call him Yusufu hadhihi al-ummah, the Yusuf of this ummah. And mashallah, he says, I only lived with Rasulullah for 6 months. Only for 6 months. Because he only embraced Islam in 10 AH in the month of Ramadan. And then Rasulullah passed away in 11 AH in the month of Rabiul Awwal. So no more than 6 months. He says, Ma ra'ani illa tabassam. Every time Rasulullah saw me, he smiled. डॉक्टर अब्दुल हई आरिफी रहमहुल्लाह फरमाया करते थे, अल्लाह माफ़ करे, कुछ लोग पैसे के बखील होते हैं और कुछ लोग मुस्कुराहट के बखील होते हैं. Some people just can't smile. Some people just cannot smile. अब हालांकि you know what smile stands for? S-M-I-L-E. Simple, it's mind touching, it's inviting, it's a light, and it's easy. This is what a smile is. Okay, it does not cost nothing at all, but it will go a very, very long way for you. So Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, he says that after Rasulullah, during the life of Rasulullah gave me one advice. What was the advice? وَالنُّصْحِ لِكُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ. You must give good counsel and wish well for every Muslim. हर मुसलमान के बारे में तुम अच्छा चाहना. Give them nasiha, give them good counseling. He sent his servant to buy him a horse. So he goes and buys a horse for 300 dirham. For 300 dirham, and he comes back. He said, how much did you buy the horse for? So he says, I bought the horse for 300. He said, you know what? You've undercut the seller. You've undercut the seller because the horse is worth much more. Sayyidina Jarir ibn Abdullah went to him and said, will you take a 400 dirham for the horse that my servant has bought from you? Will you accept 400? He says, I was okay with 300, but if you want to give 400, no problem. He says, but okay, will you take 500? Will you take 600? Will you take 700? He ended up giving 800 dirham for the horse that his servant bought for 300. When he came out after paying the money, someone asked him, how much did you pay? He says, I paid 800. The person said, I would have bargained and I would have got it for 400. He says, I got it for 300. But I paid 800 because I know the true value of the horse. But this is what you call wishing well for other individuals. You know, mashallah, and trying to benefit other individuals. In our community, you know what we do? We undercut someone when we know this person is in need of money. He bichara has to sell a car because he can't pay his rent. And you know the car is worth 5,000. But because he needs the money so desperately, you know what I'll say? I'll pay you 3,000. And bichara, the guy is majboor. Okay, we are in Islam, we are told, okay, you know, do not undercut, benefit other individuals, inshallah, and Allah Ta'ala will give you. Imam Abu Dawood, rahimahullah, Imam Abu Dawood as-Sajistani, who wrote Sunan Abu Dawood, he says, I made my compilation of Sunan Abu Dawood from 500,000 hadith. How many? 500,000 hadith. But you might say, but Sayyidina Abu Hurairah was the Sahabi who knew the most ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that was 5,374 hadith. Where did Imam Abu Dawood get 500,000 hadith from? According to the muhaddithin, every hadith with a different chain is not classified as one hadith. It's classified as double, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So example, innamal a'malu bin niyat. Innamal a'malu bin niyat, according to the fuqaha, is just one hadith. According to the jurist, it's only one hadith. But according to the muhaddithin, as many as chains as you will find, and there are about 700 chains for innamal a'malu bin niyat. The hadith innamal a'malu bin niyat. So according to the muhaddithin, that is 700 hadith. So he says, I took my hadith from a compilation of 500,000 hadith. And then he's compiled 4,000. And you know what he says? I feel the gist of all the 4,000 hadiths that I have can be composed and compiled into just 4. Number 1, innamal a'malu bin niyat. So whatever you do for the sake of Allah. Number 1. Number 2, min husni islamil mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'ni. The beauty of an individual's Islam is you leave what does not concern you. You know, as we say, MYOB. MashaAllah, they call it MYOB. It's a software. Mind your own business. MYOB. Okay, inshallah, this is what we should all follow. Okay, inshallah, just keep your business to your business. Inshallah, what other people are doing, you make dua for them. Inshallah, and you know, that is, unfortunately today, there are so many enemies internally. Okay, we call them the enemy within. And for the Muslims, we have so many enemies. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq. And the third hadith, none of you is a believer until he desires for his brother what he desires for himself. Until then, we are not a believer. And number 4, al-halal bayyin wal-haram bayyin. Halal is clear and haram is clear. Inshallah, we'll move on. I'm just giving you examples of individuals. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. When you do for the sake of humanity, you don't do it for money. In life, do something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for money. At least do something. I'm not saying, okay, do a job and don't take money. I'm not saying that. Go beyond the call of duty. If you need to help a Muslim individual, help him, and don't do it for money, do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me give you the example of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. When Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam in Egypt has accidentally killed an individual, and now he has to flee, and he comes to Madian. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam comes to Madian, and what does he see there? People are watering their animals from the well. Musa alayhi salam sees nearby 2 young girls, and they have their animals with them, but they are right on one side. Why? Because they can't water their animals and take water home until everyone else has done the watering. So they can't do it. So Musa alayhi salatu salam realizes these girls, they'll have to wait until everyone has watered their animals. So Musa alayhi salam took their animals, watered them, and thereafter they got home, and you know, rather than usual, they end up home very early. So the father Sayyidina Shu'aib alayhi salatu wasalam says, you lot end up early today? You know, why are you early today? You come home so early. So they said, there was an individual, okay, he did our animals and we finished very early. He says, no one has ever done it for you in the community before. That individual who has done it must be a stranger. He must be a stranger. Go and get him, because he must be in need of shelter. Now see, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam did not do for any other goal, for any other purpose. He's just seeing, okay, he feels that these are young girls, bishara, they have to wait until everyone finishes. You know, I would do the same for a young girl. I will also help her as well. But Allah Ta'ala maaf kare, we will exploit women and we will do it for lust. You know, I and you, no, I don't know about yourselves. Please do not get me. I'm not pointing a finger. Okay, but we would do it generally. Why? Because if I do a favor to this girl, she is very beautiful. Okay, there is a possibility. Maybe the favor I've done for her in the future, maybe I can exploit. And we will do it. And you know, there is something ulterior motive within. Okay, this is why I've helped another individual. Musa alayhi salam is a Nabi of Allah. Safura, the daughter of Sayyidina Musa, Shu'aib alayhi salatu salam is said, go and bring that individual, because that individual will be a strange man. Okay, Musa alayhi salam comes home. But my point to you, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Musa alayhi salam. Because of his gesture for helping someone without the cause of money, without the resource of money. Musa alayhi salam did not say, I will water your animals, but for that you will have to give me shelter. Musa alayhi salam has done it just solely for the sake of Allah. What did Allah give? MashaAllah, this is what you call a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whilst you are alive. What did Musa alayhi salam get? He gets shelter for 10 years. He got shelter for 10 years, number one. And then number two, he got a wife. And then number three, on the way back, he's got nubuwwat as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him nubuwwat on the way back. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given Musa alayhi salam for the kind gesture of Musa alayhi salam. This is why I'm saying, inshallah, and you know, it's a very, very famous hadith. Everyone has heard the hadith. You know, the three individuals in Banu Israel that became trapped in a boulder, in a cave. And then they said, you have to ask with the intermediary of an action. And one individual, if you remember, he said, I was a businessman, and I took the services of many people, and then I gave all of them their ajr. One individual left. One individual left, did not take no money at all. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the minimal amount that he did not take, I put it back into the business. And after many years, that individual comes back. Okay, and he says, that work that I did for you, for which you were giving me the money, and then I did not take, now I want that money. He says, everything that you see here, the cattle and the sheep and the camels, everything belongs to you. Meaning, I invested that money. It was a small amount of money, but over time it's grown. You've done something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the time of difficulty, when the boulder has trapped them and the only thing they can see in front of their eyes is death. Okay, they're making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah removes the boulder. Do a amal in life that no one knows but you, your creator, and the person for whom you've done that amal. Inshallah, next time we end up in ICU, or maybe a family member, or maybe someone in the family is in a very, very difficult, in drug issues, and they are going through rehabilitation. Inshallah, then you can ask Allah Ta'ala through the intermediary of that amal of yours, oh Allah, if I've done it for your source sake, oh Allah, give me pardon. And oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give us, free us from that calamity. Inshallah, I'll share with you two more incidents. And they are mind-boggling what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you when you do something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. MashaAllah, Hassan ibn Abi Sinan, rahimahullah. This is an individual, was a very, very rich man, a saint of Allah, a wali of Allah. One young girl, a very, very beautiful girl, came to him. A very, very beautiful girl came to this individual and said, A'tini dirhaman. If you can just give me 1 dirham, I have absolutely nothing. He says to the khadim, Ya ghulam, a'tiha 400 dirham. Give her 400 dirham. The khadim said, Sa'ila tas'aluka dirhaman wahida. She is a sa'ila. She's only asking you for one. Why are you giving her 400? He says, because this is a very beautiful lady. People will exploit her. If I give her this amount of money, it'll make her independent. And then if she has money, inshallah, someone will be inclined towards her, and in a halal manner, they will get married to her. And that's why I've done what I have done. And inshallah, one last incident I'll share with you. And this is an amazing incident. Really, it's an amazing incident. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you in times of your need, when you are in needy, if you are going to go and help and go out of your way of helping others, inshallah. At least do a few things in life. You might have heard of the name Uthman bin Talha. Uthman bin Talha. Uthman bin Talha al-Hajabi. You might be surprised. Why? Until the day of Qiyamah. Until the day, inshallah. Let me relate to you the incident first. Sayyida Salama. Number one, Salama, the wife of Rasulullah, who later on became the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Salama, number one. Number two, her husband Abu Salama. And their one young child who's only 1 year old. 1 year old. They are on the verge of migrating, and they are leaving Medina Munawwara. The non-Muslims captured them and did not allow them to go. When they were stopped on the outskirts of Makkah Mukarramah, the family of Abu Salama came, the family of Salama came. The family of Salama said, we will not allow our daughter Salama to migrate and go to Makkah Mukarramah. We will not allow her. The family of Abu Salama say, we will not allow her child to stay with her. So we will take the child. So the child has been taken by Salama's in-laws. Salama has taken back by her own family. Abu Salama migrates to Medina Munawwara. So in the blink of an eye, the entire family is what? Separated. And you know what we say today? One person came to Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi rahmatullahi and said, Hazrat, it would have been nice had we been born in the zamana of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hazrat Thanwi said, shukr karo isi zamane mein ho. Thank Allah that you're living in this time. Varna kya pata, tum hi apne zamane ke Abu Jahl tum hote. What do you know? Maybe you might have been Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab. You know, and really, because if you were to tell me, you know, if I were to say to someone, my young brother, you should not be having coke, for whatever reason. Be it because they help Israel, or be it they help Western countries, or whatever the case. Or because it's bad for your health. You tell me today, we can't leave coke. And then we are thinking we're going to give sacrifice of our lives for the sake of Islam. We can't leave haram, and then I am saying, inshallah, I can do these sacrifices. You know, it's not easy what the Sahaba have gone through. There was a reason why they were given the title, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. There was a reason behind it. Now what happens? After 1 year, the family of Abu Salama feels sorry for Salama and her child. So they gave it back to her. They give her back the child. Because a child, 1 year old, separated from the mother, now they feel sorry for her and the child, they give it back to the... Now Salama decides to migrate and go from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara. So now she lives on a mount absolutely alone. Just imagine, for a lady, an 8 to 10 day journey in the jungle. She doesn't know the direction of Medina Munawwara, and she's living on a mount. And you know, we get there now in a bullet train from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara in 2 hours and 20 minutes. And then we're complaining. Now that you have the bullet trains now, 2 hours and 20 minutes you are from Makkah Mukarramah, you are in Medina Munawwara. And we are still complaining. This is a journey that takes 8 to 10 days in that heat. Uthman bin Talha, he realizes this is a lady with her young child who is traveling alone. How will she get to Medina Munawwara? We don't know who will exploit her, don't know what will happen to her. He says to her, where are you off to? Because Uthman bin Talha knew the father of Salama. So he said, where are you off to? He says, I'm off to Medina Munawwara. He says, you don't worry, I will take you. And you will not believe, Salama says, I swear by Allah, I've never seen an individual like this en route from Makkah Mukarramah, non-Muslim, kafir. From Makkah Mukarramah until Medina Munawwara, he did not cast a glance on me. Non-Muslim. One glance from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara, 8, 9, 10 days. And you know what he does? He takes her from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara. When it was time to rest, he would put the mount down, he would allow her to go to one side, and then he would take the animal for grazing or whatever. But he transported her from Makkah Mukarramah to Medina Munawwara. When he entered into Medina Munawwara, he asked her, is this what your intention was? And she said, yes. You will not believe, he did not even say, I will transport you to your husband Abu Salama and at least get an acknowledgement from him. Jazakumullah for your effort and what you've done for my wife and for me. You know what he does? He leaves her on the outskirts of Medina Munawwara, because now you're in Medina, and then he comes back right the way to Makkah Mukarramah. You tell me now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. If there is no one to reward him, no one to even say Jazakumullah to him, Salama must have, okay, but there is no one else. You know how Allah Ta'ala repays him back? It's amazing. Till the day of Qiyamah, the key to the Kaaba is in the Miftahan lil-Shar, Mighlaqan lil-Khayr. Wail, and a valley of Jahannam for that individual whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a lock for khayr, and he's become a key for evil. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not make us amongst them. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Sallallahu ala khayri khalqihi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in.